Well, at least we tried to make a movie. They can't fault us for that. Oh, yes, I can. And I will. The Bubble's a Netflix original written and directed by Judd Apatow, who strikes again with his brand of comedy. He's done The 40-Year-Old Virgin, he's done Knocked Up, and he's done Trainwreck. Thankfully, Amy Schumer is nowhere near this goddamn movie. More in the fucking pity, because I sure would have loved to have ripped Amy Schumer to shreds. Not that she hasn't been ripped to shreds, and not that she doesn't rip comedy to shreds with her bullshit version of telling jokes. But this isn't about Amy Schumer. This is about this movie that also has Pam Hardy with a writing credit. She did the South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut movie, some episodes of Just Shoot Me, as well as Team America. So I'm like, okay, at least it's not Judd Apatow running wild. You have another writer here. This might be good. As Karen Gillan, who is a terrific and very, very, very gorgeous actress. She was one of the few good parts of Oculus. Keegan-Michael Key, who is a meme unto himself with the holy shit gif, and actually has done some pretty good movies in his own right and during his career. It also has Leslie Mann and David Duchovny and various other people. And they come together to basically make a cast of people that are making a movie within a movie. It's taking place during the pandemic with COVID restrictions and all that, and they're trying to make things work on this closed set and entertain people with a movie called Cliff Beast 6. No, beasts, like seriously, it's about beasts that are on a cliff. As far as movies go, it's pretty goddamn on the nose. Almost as on the nose as the piles of cocaine that are done in one particular scene. So, let's see, how far am I into this review? Am I too soon in the review to basically say this movie is a goddamn abomination and everything wrong with comedy? And I want to say I understand what they were trying to do here. The problem is Judd Apatow has never really done anything good behind the director's chair. I never really cared for Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin. Movies like that never aged all that well. He did write Don't Mess with the Zohan, which was so goddamn bonkers and stupid I kind of enjoyed it, but I fully recognize it's not very good. I don't understand how this guy keeps getting work, because watching this actually made me think this might be one of the worst comedies I have seen in about 20 goddamn years. It's the type of comedy where they take jokes and then they explain the joke, and then they explain the joke again, they explain more, and they explain to the point where even if you thought the initial joke wasn't that funny, you might find something funny. No, they're bound and determined to wring every goddamn bit of funniness or humor or whatever out of this goddamn movie that had maybe that much humor. And with this cast, it should have been a slam dunk. You could have done something good with it. No, they proceeded to make one of the biggest atrocities that I've seen. And again, I get the idea behind what they're doing. They were trying to talk about how difficult shooting during a pandemic would be and how a lot of movie studios suddenly didn't have content to release. Like, if you think about when the pandemic first started, like when theaters shut down, and for us it was like, I think the middle of March here in Washington State. The last two movies I saw in theaters were The Hunt and Bloodshot. The last movie I saw in theaters for about, just over a year until A Quiet Place Part 2, aka Quiet Place DLC, was Bloodshot. And then I watched a bunch of stuff because Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max put, had the Warner Brothers library from last year all up in the same day as theaters, I think for like 30 days. And now we're kind of getting back to semi-normal with movies coming out in theaters. But for a bit, there were a lot of things being gobbled up, and there were just a lot of like shovelware stuff being shoved out in a lot of foreign movies, and everybody was just gobbling stuff up for content because so many people were home. I reviewed 138 movies in 2020. And quite a few of those, I would say at least 120 of those were just streaming. And then I got back more into watching theaters, or in theaters last year and this year. And the whole point is, seeing stuff on a streaming service doesn't automatically make it bad. You can do something where you have a meta commentary and you make fun of how, Hollywood studios treat their actors, or how they just treat them like, pieces of meat. And you can have characters kind of playing parodies of themselves. And you can make something work with that. You also don't need to make this movie, about 2 hours long, when maybe 90 minutes would have done. The Adam Project, they came out with Ryan Reynolds and, Zoe Saldana and various other people whose names are escaping me right now because I reviewed a whole lot of shit this year. The Adam Project was fun. It was breezy. It also was done in about 92 minutes. While it wasn't great, it made its point. There are other movies that have come out that Netflix has released. I mean, Hulu did do Deep Water. That was pretty goddamn bullshit. And Various streaming services have their originals. HBO Max did Moonshot. You can do stuff on a streaming service and make it work. But let's get back to this. Judd Apatow proves that he has no goddamn idea how to make a good movie anymore. Not that I think he had an idea how to make a good movie in the first place, but you take this cast of characters and you somehow make them easily, spouting enough dialogue to fill 2 Robert Altman movies. There were so many scenes with so much talking and so much over the top and so much just beating you over the fucking head with all this stuff that it got to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I can finish this. I don't know if I can. I was honestly hating this movie pretty early on, but I'm like, I'm going to stick with it. Maybe it'll get better. And it just got less funny and less funny and less funny. And maybe it's just because I'm not in on the joke, but this movie doesn't have any jokes you can be in on. It just basically hits you over the head with them constantly to the point where you don't want to laugh at anything. You just want these actors to go off camera. You just want to be staring at static or a black screen. We're hearing elevator music. The Girl from Ipanema. Good old Deep Rising. That was a movie that understood how to do comedy. Granted, it was also about a giant squid that popped up into a cruise liner and had Treat Williams as an action star for some reason. But it also had Famke Janssen in a red dress, and that was good. This isn't. Jeez. I mean, the plot, such as it is, basically involves everybody unraveling as, their quarantine and restrictions and all that stuff and having to do this. And that's something you could work with. This movie fails to do. It fails on every goddamn level to the point that it makes no. It's not even that it doesn't make sense. It starts with, can we make this movie? And by the end, you're just like wondering, okay, why did they bother to put that much effort into a movie? And try to do all these cliches and let's make it all funny. It's not funny. It's goddamn dog shit, and Judd Apatow should be shamed and prevented from ever directing a movie again. Don't have him even write movies. Just have him produce stuff. Stop. Don't do this anymore. This wastes everybody that could have been any kind of good comedy relief or provide any levity to this or whatever. It just, people get together, then they don't. They get sick, and then they're fine. We have a long shooting schedule. I think it's like up to like 100 some odd days. I think it's like maybe by the end of 180, 200 days. We don't really get that. And then they try to make it like we're just doing a commentary and making fun of how Hollywood makes movies. Now they're bound determined to treat their actors. Now I'm sure that actors do have to deal with a whole bunch of stuff on set. They do get paid a whole lot of money, but it is still tough work, and they have to make sure they make hits. The thing is from the very beginning, all the comedy is just, it lands with a fucking thud. And then it keeps landing with a more resounding thud as time goes on. And it just gets worse. And again, it wastes the talents of Keegan-Michael Key, Karen Gillan in particular. I mean, she's too talented, and she's way too hot to be wasted on it. But she's just way too talented. And Leslie Mann, there are good people in this cast, and it's not like watching movie 43. It's not like watching that. But this is watching so many people getting just wasted and every bit of spontaneity wrung out of the goddamn thing, to where I didn't give a shit what was happening. There were cameos by people for no goddamn reason, because I think they were just desperate. Oh, this will be funny. This will be fucking hilarious. No, Judd Apatow, you haven't been funny for a number of years. I don't know why I think he's going to watch this or anybody's going to watch it, but as a fan of movies, this was embarrassing and he should be shamed. Shamed into never making another movie again, because this was atrocious. Goddamn atrocious. Netflix, of course, got people to, buy into this and watch this, like myself, but let's just get into it. It's fucking terrible. Every joke just lands and plops down like a pile of shit, which is what this goddamn script was. Let's get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Okay, so you got people that are either in relationships or get in relationships on the goddamn set. David Duchovny's character and Leslie Mann's character adopted a kid that was a teenager, but then they got divorced soon after, and the kid hates them, but then they get together on set, and then they don't. Karen Gillan, she loses her boyfriend, who sleeps with a waitress while she's away. And then there's all the jokes about the pandemic and the virus and stuff like that. And hey, whatever. We can all joke about that because we're 2 years in this damn thing. And You can keep your conspiracy theory bullshit out of the comments or wherever. You'll be fucking banned, free speech or not. This shit is real. It actually does exist, and you can just piss off otherwise. But there are there's jokes about quarantine. I'm sure being quarantined in a room for 2 weeks would be tough. It would be. I mean, whether you're an actor or not. I wasn't able to quarantine due to my job. I was considered one of the essential workers. But they're doing all this stuff. We get a character named Mr. Best that does security, and it's like this militant type thing where he's trying, like actors get shot if they go off set. Leslie Mann gets her hand blown off at one point. Fortunately, she's ambidextrous. Haha, now all 5 of the women that watch my channel will be tuning out. Daisy Ridley is in this for some reason in a cameo. I am all about seeing Daisy Ridley, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I thought she was one of the best parts of the Star Wars trilogy that I admit was uneven, but I like Daisy Ridley. And Karen Gillan, after finding out her husband was cheating on her, sleeps with some soccer player that makes her sick. Oh no, you've had sex, so you're going to get sick. That was kind of the bullshit part of it. We go day 94 on set. Everybody is, just getting more and more upset. Karen's part is being rewritten. We get all these special effects with these weird winged lizard dragon things or whatever. I guess they're the cliff beasts. They kind of look like, something from Reign of Fire if Reign of Fire was made by complete idiots. Because Reign of Fire was only made by idiots. I know some people liked Reign of Fire. I didn't. And what the fuck am I doing is a line that was actually uttered by David Duchovny's character, and I'm sure many were wondering that as they continued to make this movie. So, also there were TikTok videos, because Iris Apatow, that I imagine is at least a semi-relation to the director, was an influencer, and there were various TikTok dances. There were at least, I think, 3. It seemed like there were more. It seemed like every time I turned around, there was a fucking TikTok dance. There were jokes. They were just being hammered into your fucking skull. Some of the worst humor. Every joke just lands badly. I mean, it just plops out there. And Karen tries to lead a revolution because she's upset about her part. But then there's this moment where they end up saving one of the characters, Dieter, that actually falls. Not comes to the brackets when we dance. Actually, one of the guys kind of looked like one of the background people from that Mike Myers episode, or the Mike Myers skits, and now I can't unsee it. But yeah, they end up doing a whole bunch of drugs, and then that one guy ends up ODing, and then they kind of write him off. And then a very, very beautiful blonde that goes by the name of Maria, the character name, comes in and puts the adrenaline in his soul, and then his body's out of control. Any wrestling fan or non-wrestling fans have no idea what that means. And then he gets revived, and they fall in love, and then the director's getting all upset. The director kind of looks like if Tommy Wiseau had, facial reconstructive surgery. And everyone leaves, and we get various other movie sets. James McAvoy chases down Karen Gillan and tackles her. I'd like her to tackle me, and moving on. And there are 2 girls that fight, Iris Apatow and some other young blonde I didn't catch the name of. I don't care. And we get then, goofiness, attempts at comedy. And then Keegan-Michael Key's character was taught how to go up and down in a helicopter, but he was not taught how to fly. And then they had to go do a YouTube video to figure out how to fly a helicopter. But then they watched a monkey get washed in a bathtub because comedy. Am I fucking right? And then they take off. And then they say, well, at least we tried to make a movie. And then we get credits where 2 years later, there's a mockumentary/documentary about how bad the shooting was and how terrible it was and how terrible everybody was treated. Much of everybody's goddamn life would be wasted if more movies were made like this. Get rid of Judd Apatow. Get rid of him being a director. Get him out of the director's chair. Just stop. Don't do this anymore. This has to be up there, if not the worst movie of the year so far for me. Don't get me wrong. There are some bad indie horror movies that I've seen this year, and you can some of that you can excuse, small budget and all that and everything. When you make a movie this unfunny and this ridiculous to the point that you hate every single character and even actors that you like, and you wonder, what the hell, were you being held hostage? Were you being held at gunpoint just off camera? Was somebody threatening to shoot your favorite pet? What the hell was going on here? Because there's no excuse for a movie being this spectacularly bad. Yeah, F. It gets a goddamn F, and Judd Apatow should be blacklisted from ever directing again. Then again, I think he's about 70, so I don't really think... well, let's see. I think he is about 70. So whatever, maybe at this point he'll just go retire with the millions of dollars he's made making very, very bad movies, and we will never have to deal with him again. F! In case I didn't say it. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.